Hello, my friend, and welcome back. Today, I would like to talk about the idea of being open to magic and to the idea of being open to things existing that we were not exactly conditioned to believe exist. And I would say, like, in the past year or so, a lot of things are coming to light, and I know it seems kind of shocking to some and not to others. I am the other, like, I'm not really surprised by anything that has come to light about, you know, other, I guess, what we would call like intelligent life and whatnot. I always just felt like it was really egotistical to think that humans were the only intelligent life that existed anywhere ever. And just because we know how big, like how there are multiple solar systems and galaxies, and things are so far away and we haven't been to most places, and I just feel like, how could there not be other life forms? And, through the movies and everything, we are kind of conditioned to be fearful and for it to be a foreign concept. But what if it wasn't that foreign of a concept? What if, like, basically it has come to light that there, is other intelligent life, and the government has always known. And now the government, for some reason, is like feeling the need to release all these papers to like slowly leak this information to the population in a very, I would say, in a very, in a way that's not intended to scare the masses. And that's why I think it's kind of becoming like a slow leak. And I feel like for most it's very shocking information, and it is being leaked in a way that I think is meant to kind of dull the shock of it. But what if we were to imagine, that like aliens weren't the only intelligent life, and, that there were lots of other spiritual entities? And, when I talk on this channel, I really don't like to slice and dice things. I think that this is very much a time to come back to our oneness and to the inner oneness and the inner God that exists in all of us. And, I don't really like, and even in my personal life, I just don't really get into the slicing and the dicing of the different, maybe kinds of aliens or star seeds or spirits that could exist. But I do want to play with it a little bit in this video. Like, let's kind of imagine what could actually exist, and what maybe does exist, and what exists that exists in a different way than we previously imagined. Say a good example of this, I think, is fae spirits or fae people, and which are fairies. And, like in the Disney movies, and, pop culture has shown a fairy to be, like these little human like things that have wings and that fly around. Well, fairies exist, but I'm not sure that they exactly look the way that we think that they do. From my understanding of fae creatures or fae spirits, is that they are attached to nature, and every single species of tree and nature, and I don't know if it's animals too, but like definitely like plant species, every single different kind of species has a different fae that is assigned to it to protect it and to watch over it. And I think that that is just such a like fun, beautiful concept, specifically with the fae people. And they are, or fae spirits, they are very playful and loving and can be mischievous because they have that playful aspect to them. But that is just one example of one kind of maybe spiritual entity. I think that what is really going on is much more complex and sliced and diced than we could ever imagine. But that's almost why I think it's like fun to imagine, because, you know, it has been proven that the spectrum of light, so what creates what we see is light. Everything is light. And the spectrum of light that the human eye picks up on is very, very small. Like, for example, if it was like a 12-inch ruler, I think the spectrum of light that we see is maybe like a half an inch. And which means that most of what exists we cannot see. And I think that that is actually a hard concept to truly wrap your head around. But if you start to play with that and you start to realize that wow, like I don't see most of what is going on around me. And what I do see, this 3D reality, doesn't even come close to what actually exists. And it was interesting. This concept was driven home actually by a movie. I want to say like Immortals or something, some sort of movie with Greek gods. And it said that the reason why, in the movie it says the reason why we can't see the Greek gods is because they are moving at such a fast pace, such a faster pace around us that we cannot see them. And I think that that was a really interesting concept that was driven home basically about other spiritual entities that are around us. And as opposed to like in the movie, you know, they were actually like moving back and forth actually at a very, very fast speed that we couldn't see them. But what if they were just vibrating at a higher level than us, which made us not able to see them? Because once, you know, I feel like once particles are moving really fast, they've proven that you can go through them. And the slower the particle is moving, the more dense it is and the more likely you can go through it. Like my hand, you can't go through. But maybe if my hand was moving at such a pace, this finger could go through. I don't know. So if we think about that we are, and I don't mean this in a bad way, that, you know, the human body, this human world, this 3D existence is a lower vibrational existence. And because it is a lower vibrational existence, things appear to be solid. And because we are of a lower vibrational existence, we are only privy to a very small amount of the light that is going on around us, of the things that are going on around us, of the things that might be here and be around us, other beings, other entities, other spirits. And I don't want to say this in a way to incite fear. I want to say it in a way to incite wonder and curiosity and playfulness, because just because you can't see it or it's something that you might not necessarily understand right now doesn't mean there is a need to be fearful of it. Because the more fear you hold, the more fear you attract, you know? So maybe there are lower vibrational entities that we can't see that aren't here for our highest good. But you have to think about the other spectrum. Think about all the other higher vibrational entities that are here for our highest good and that are kind of watching over humanity and being a part of this symbiotic world that we are now existing in. And I think that once we incite that wonder and that awe, that is where we can start to let the magic happen. And if you feel called to study more into maybe specific entities or whatnot, you can do that. However, I think that like a lot of the information that we actually don't have a lot of information on anything, because I think that what's truly going on is impossible for our human minds to wrap our heads around. So if you feel called to research it, go and research it, but don't get too caught up in that. I just am saying it in a way to spark wonder, like, what, let's go back to the aliens. Like, what different kinds of UFOs are there? What if they are here for our highest good? What if they do want to help us? And what if they are just waiting for us to be ready for that help and to be ready for them to, appear to us? And, there are a lot of good, like, I think documentaries and things out there that can help us maybe understand some of the things that we know about, let's say, aliens. However, I haven't really come across, and I could be wrong, there could be lots of other things out there. I haven't come across anything that I think really reveals the truth about other spiritual entities. I think it's always been shown in a fear-based light, and I would love to start to see some things that show it in a loving light and in a way of possibility and in a way of coexistence and in a way of, that abundant mindset of there being an abundance of beings that are here to help us and that want to help us, and that, that at a very deep level, we are them and they are us, because we are everything. And that includes the UFOs and the Fae people and the animal spirits and anything else, the deities and the gods and the goddesses and, all of the different spiritual entities that may exist. I think that we need to stop looking at it through a fear-based lens and start to look at it in a faith-based lens, in a loving lens, in an abundant lens, in a love lens. And once you can start to see through it through that lens, you will start to let go of that fear. And it's funny because I saw a meme or a quote yesterday, and it was like, for those of you that don't believe in aliens and astral projection and remote viewing and, all the different things, shit's about to get real weird. And I mean, I think that's great. Like, I think that if we're going to go into an age of, we're in the age of Aquarius now, the age of information and the age of disclosure, I think that even myself, has my mind kind of just went to the negative right away. Oh, disclosure, you're going to see how many awful things are going on that we don't really know about. I'm like, what about all of the amazing things that are going on that we don't know about? What if those things start to get disclosed, and they start to get disclosed in a playful, joyful, loving way and not in a fear-based way? Because at the end of the day, there is nothing to fear, period. We are everything. We need to start aligning ourselves with the oneness, with the connectedness, and letting go of that fear, because we are all one. And just because entities are more service to self than they are service to others doesn't mean that you should fear them. It doesn't mean that you have to let them into your energy and, do something that they, if you're communicating with them, that they might want you to do, or you don't have to do anything you don't want. And no, nothing can come into your energy once you have that seniority. Watch my video about shielding your energy. Once you have seniority in your energy and you have your awareness on that, you know that no other energy can enter your energy without your permission. And that is really, really powerful. And that also helps to let go of some of the fear, because you can then know and understand things a little bit more and know that you have the choice. Just because an entity is more service to self You don't have to condemn them, but you also don't have to welcome them into your energy. And you know that you have that choice, that you can be like, hey, go and do you somewhere else. This is my energy. Bye. So as we start to put together all of these tools, like shielding your energy, bringing your awareness to other entities, and, coming from a vibration of all and play and love, then we can start to maybe prepare ourselves to a little bit more of what is going to happen and what is going to be revealed. And it doesn't have to be as shocking and as fearful for us. And the more people that we kind of get used to the idea of these things, the less shocking it will be for them too. So that is what I wanted to talk about today. A message about not coming from fear and coming from love when it comes to the idea of other spiritual entities, because our beliefs do create our reality to a certain extent. However, just because you don't believe that there are other spiritual entities that are intelligent doesn't mean that they're not there. So you can take that for what it is, and I hope you enjoyed this message, and we'll have to see. It's really, really exciting and really interesting to see what's going to happen, what kind of disclosure is going to happen, and I feel like it might happen kind of soon. I don't know. I really think that we're on the brink of just kind of totally having our minds blown about something that is actually going to appear into our 3D reality. And I think that we have been kind of leaked information to soften the blow when it does come to fruition. So I want to encourage us all to move forward with love and light. And my name is Anne, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.